should record a good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you this morning, Kat?
I'm surprisingly good considering how I felt at the end of yesterday.
Yesterday felt long because we finished so late.
Yeah, and I felt okay energy-wise. I was a little achy, lower back, but a good night's sleep has sorted me out.
Yeah, I could have done without the early start today, but I think we'll be grateful for it later when we're finished at hopefully 4 or 5 o'clock rather than 7 or 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I think we've got another beautiful day ahead. We're just walking up another river valley full of gorgeous waterfalls. So it's going to be beautiful today, I think.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, yesterday was so magical. Yeah, but then each day we've thought, how could anything top this? And it kind of has, so very excited. We got dropped off at the same point that we finished yesterday.
Yeah, so we're now back to doing one long linear walk. We've just missed out a chunk in the middle of what we were expecting to do, but we're back on track with our planned alternative to the Beacon's Way today. So we're heading further west. I think we're mostly walking northwest today. We will be walking from the Neath Valley, where we are at the moment, over into the Swansea Valley via as many waterfalls as we can possibly find.
And the village that we got dropped off in has an interesting day today. They're unveiling a statue in honour of a local celebrity who's an opera singer, is it?
I don't know, I wasn't listening, sorry.
I think that's what it is, but yeah, we're quite glad we've got out of there early so that we're not in the middle of these parades and things.
Yeah, apparently they're closing all the roads and it's going to be a big festival, so we're quite glad to be escaping before all that kicks off. What's Kat found over here?
I think it's a little puffball and some acorns. So what we're doing now is I've left Katie at the bottom of a waterfall and I'm climbing up to the top so that we can wave to each other.
right up my skirt.
It looks okay.
Yeah, I went for that. Well done.
Just have a rest here.
Becoming increasingly concerned about where we're going next.
We'll see.
I have to put my hand in it.
Yeah.
So
What's in there?
nothing.
Whoa.
I'll fetch it when we're done.
I nearly went back down again then. Right.
Here we are.
Yeah, we've just stopped for second breakfast, snack, water break time,
Rest.
rest. Yeah.
It's been quite an eventful morning.
Yeah. So, what have we done?
We have walked along the main waterfall trail from Pontneddfechan, and we've now left that main trail and we're heading onto a bit that is far less well trodden, as we learned when we found ourselves on top of quite a perilous steep drop before Kat had the good idea of looking further up the slope to see if we'd missed the main path, and we had.
Yeah,
that was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool in some ways.
Well, if we hadn't gone down, we were walking right along the edge of the river and we saw some really cool dripping moss and what was that mossy hole that you made me put my hand in?
Yeah, a mossy hole and stalactites.
And
which
loads
was
and
really
loads
cool.
of fallen trees.
Yeah, I think that was our first indication we might be slightly off route when we climbed over 10 fallen trees in succession. But
Yeah.
we were seeing occasional footprints and we knew someone had at least walked through there. But I'm very glad we found a slightly higher up path.
Yes, it felt much safer, so that was good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been very beautiful. It's just waterfall after waterfall.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Kat, how this, because we've been walking through a bit of temperate rainforest this morning, how does it compare to your experience of walking through tropical rainforest?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. The only other sort of long multi-day hike I've done was in a bit of rainforest in Guatemala that was actually quite dry when I was there. So it was much less lush than this. It's also very, very flat there.
Oh, interesting. And
so-
hot, I guess.
Yeah, hotter, far more insects trying to attack you. But much less enjoyable because it's so flat and it's much more densely vegetated. And we were walking, it's not a touristed area, so we were walking on very small trails through the jungle. It's basically like being in a corridor of vegetation.
Oh, interesting.
There's no views that open up, so it's very repetitive where I was. But it reminded me more of the cloud forest that I saw in Costa Rica, which was a lot more wet and lush and drippy like this.
It's definitely been wet this morning.
Yeah, and a lot of, we did have a little bit of mist in the air early on, which the cloud
Yeah,
forest
that
was
was
like
lovely.
that. My favourite thing about walking in that kind of forest was the bromeliads, because every so often you would just come upon this bright red kind of bloom, and much like this, the rest of the jungle is all green and brown shades.
My two favourite colours, so I'm very happy.
But any time you came across one of those, it would just be an amazing pop of colour.
Wow.
But yeah, you never really had these, you were never able to kind of look out over views until you would reach the top of a hill or something like that. It was way more dense.
I guess that's the advantage we've had of walking through a river valley this morning. There's always been the river for us to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Absolutely amazing morning. I love it here.
Yeah. And we're going to see some more waterfalls, I think.
There's going to be more, it's a very, very waterfall heavy day today. So yeah, lots to do. The hard part is going to be deciding which one I choose to go for a swim in.
Yeah. You've already been tempted by a couple.
Yeah, I have, but it's only 10:30, so I'm hoping for a swim later in the day so I don't have so far to carry my wet stuff afterwards.
Hello.
Hi.
We just stopped for lunch and completely forgot to record a bit to camera, so now we're just going to quickly do it, standing next to this lovely
Lunch
tree.
was so delicious we were distracted.
Yeah, so now we're hovering under this tree.
Under this lovely little rowan tree. So we came up out of the rainforest along the river. It was a pretty steep hill.
Yeah.
And then we found ourselves in a conifer plantation for a while. And now we are on what was formerly a Roman road. So we've been walking straight and surprisingly not flat for a while.
Yeah. We haven't seen a huge amount on this stretch, lots of muddy puddles.
Kind of feels a bit like a desert when you have been in the rainforest all morning and then there's just conifers and gorse and grass.
Yeah.
Haven't even seen any sheep.
No.
Lots of sheep droppings, but not a lot of sheep.
But Katie did find something intriguing on the ground.
Oh yeah, that was back in the rainforest. We forgot to mention last time, but I was walking along with my poles and I hit something hard on the ground, so I went and dug it up to see what it was, and it was a pair of sunglasses. And I don't know why I felt like I needed to excavate them, but I did. And they turned out to be the same as my glasses, so that was sort of a weird double take moment.
Yeah, that's quite strange.
Very, very bizarre. But now we are carrying on the Roman road for a bit, and then we've got a short stretch on modern road before we come to the next waterfall.
And the petting zoo?
Fingers crossed for a petting zoo. Kat's always hoping for a petting zoo.
It's true.
Only Kat would be more excited about petting some animals than the biggest waterfall in the south of the UK.
Oh, well, when you describe it like that, I am excited to see that as well.
But mostly the animals.
Yes. Okay, let's carry on. There we go.
Well done. Oh, the light's lovely there.
There you go.
Thank you. My goodness, Kat.
Yeah. Well, the big news is Katie's had a swim
Oh, such a good swim.
under a very, very high waterfall.
I could not believe the force of the water coming down. I didn't go right under, but just the wind that it created. It was really hard to swim against the wind, but it was amazing. I was so glad I got to go in.
Yeah, there wasn't anyone else swimming. We did see some people
There was a
leaving.
dog swimming.
Oh, yeah, there were a couple of dogs, but we did see some people leaving who may possibly have gone in before we got there.
I reckon. And then you went behind the waterfall.
Yeah, amazing amount of space behind it.
Yeah,
and
it was huge.
it just looked really beautiful. There were a lot of people there, but it was really beautiful to see such a huge waterfall.
Yeah, it was lovely. And now we're in another rainforesty bit, which is lovely. Although it's been slow going, I think. It's probably been our slowest day in terms of pace, just because the terrain has been really tricky. There's a lot of steep drops, so you need to be really careful about where you put your feet.
And a lot of mud, especially this last bit from the waterfall, which was spraying everywhere, so there was mud everywhere. And then through the forest just now has been treacherous.
Mud, slippery, exposed roots, rocks, and yeah, it's been really slow. So we're quite a lot behind the schedule we thought we'd be keeping today, but I've been loving it anyway.
Yes. We should say there was no petting zoo.
There was
but
no
we
petting
did see
zoo.
some alpacas through the fence.
Briefly, we're on about 12 miles walked so far, I think, which again, the app told us that the total walk for today was 12.5 miles, which was lying. But we're not too far away from our end point, which is Craig y Nos Country Park, which has a Victorian castle, which we're going to hopefully get to have a look at. Well done! Thanks. Slightly delirious and very wobbly.
Wet.
You alright, sweeties? You a bit sog? Will this do?
I think we're going to have to do this fairly quickly.
Yeah, the weather has been pretty unkind to us the last couple of miles. We've made it to the country park, but we are like drowned rats.
Yeah.
I can't believe actually how lucky we've been with the weather so far this week.
Yeah,
but,
this is just bringing it home to us that we have been lucky up till this point.
We have, but shall we put the camera away and go and get a cup of tea?
Yes, please.
All right, see you tomorrow. We forgot to chat at lunchtime, Kat.
Oh.
Recording!
Do we need to say anything to wrap it up or no?
I
That's
know,
fine.
I think awkward silence does that job perfectly.
That'll do.
You're just going to sit there. Perfect.
It's not happening. At least we'll have a nice out.